no clue, man.
No, it's really good that you've done that, because I've said similar things and people don't necessarily respond the same way.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people get really aggro. I feel like I just, I said to Rob, because he gets really antsy when people do it to him, and I'm like, I feel like it's a really good learning curve, because sometimes these women and men are just copying and pasting what their upline said to them.
I've taken it as to be able to lead and teach, so I give them some advice on how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know, it's so freaking bizarre. It's so bizarre. But anyway, I'm glad that we don't teach it, and I'm glad that it's not encouraged, because I find it, gives me the shivers. It's the one thing around the industry that I just think, like, I don't know if you guys saw a post, but about a week ago, I found an others folder where I had about 100 friend requests. And I was like, oh my God, feeling so terrible, because I was thinking there's all these people that have probably been sitting there thinking that I'm the hardcore bitch, just like, nah, I don't want to be friends with you. And I accepted all of them. And I reckon I probably had about 92 message requests. And I got at least 12 to 15 just cold messages as soon as I accepted their friend request. And I was like, oh, they're all fucking network marketers. And it's probably why Facebook put them over in the other category. They were like, you don't need these ones. But I just thought, oh, how depressing. No wonder we've got such an image to clean up, hey? Because people are just like piranhas out there. It's a bit disappointing. But anyway, that's all off topic. That's not what we need to be speaking about tonight. Don't do the business that way. But I'm so excited to be here with you. I generally can't do Wednesdays because that's my dedicated family night. But I know it's coming up to end of month, and we've got some really cool, just movement happening in here. So I wanted to come in, and I've missed you guys. I feel like it's been forever since I've got to hang out. So I took it as an opportunity. The kids are in the bath. Harper's on her iPad doing some schoolwork, and I'm just like, right, I'm disappearing into my office for a little bit. But how can I serve you? What's been happening? Tell me what's happening in the business, what's been happening in your personal life, what questions do you have? Put them inside the chat box, and please don't be shy, because honestly, this is the way to learn. I honestly had, if I'm going to be really transparent with you guys, I had some chats with so many of my own frontline today, and I was talking a little bit briefly at the start, is that everybody feels like life is really happening hard and fast at the moment. A lot of people are kind of distracted and sidetracked by their business because they're feeling like life is taking a really big toll. And I put up that post today because I just want to remind you guys that this business is meant to fit in with your life. It really is. And I know sometimes if you're a bit of an overachiever like me and Tans, it becomes obsessive. And you like to always be doing it, and you like to always be feeling like you're winning at it. But sometimes it has to fit in with your life. And that is totally okay. It doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you need to gap it out of our community. It doesn't mean that you're not enough. It just means that life's kicking your ass at the moment. And that's okay. That's part of being human. But the cool part about this business is that it's always in the background. And you always have leaders in the background who, when you're ready, and who, when you're like, okay, cool, yep, I'm gunning it, I'm ready to go, I've got on my feet now, and I want to create that extra money, or I need to pay this bill, you've got a vehicle behind you that's always going to back you up. All right, so I just want to pre-frame with that, because I feel like so many people need to hear that message at the moment. One of our biggest issues is that we're never enough. And trust me, like, this business will test that, because there's no glass ceiling, right? You can just continuously win. But there's going to be times when you're not. And that's totally okay too. Trust me, it doesn't discriminate. We all have those days. We all have those months. We all have those feelings. So the biggest tip, learn to get on with it. When you do kind of get on your feet, and when you feel that pull and you feel, okay, cool, yep, I've got to pull my socks up and get back on this bandwagon, because trust me, it's worth it. Plug back into training, plug back into somebody, get on a coaching call with an upline, start watching trainings again. They're like, honestly, gold. Every time I plug into training, I leave feeling inspired and leave feeling pumped up. So that's one of the quickest ways to just get your mojo back if you feel like life is kicking your butt. Okay, but do you guys have any questions or anything at the moment? Yeah, bloody online coaches, hey? It really does. Just reading the chat box. But yeah, shout away. How can I help? What's been happening? What's the biggest challenges? Another thing that I really wanted to touch on too, because it's another flavor that we've got while you guys think about all your questions. I have a lot of people who are like, I've got people sitting on the fence, but I don't know how to get them over. I don't know how to get them over that line before end of month. And I really just want to reiterate that sometimes urgency and creating a little bit of FOMO, a fear of missing out inside your business, is the best way to do it. If they know that you're always available and you're always really, needy, that you always want the customers and that you always want the team, they can really fuck around a little bit. They can just take their time and, kind of be slow on the uptake. So I think one of the biggest things is saying to people, look, I'm just about to close my May intake. If you've got people who have been sitting on the fence for new team, I'm just about to close my May intake because I've got a few. And, I really remember our story, and I remember that you had a really big reason why. What was their why? Was it to spend more time with their kids? Was it, to get out of an abusive relationship? What was it? What was their why? And just say, it really resonated with me, or I would really like to work with you because I want to be able to help. Can we get you started? Are you ready to jump on board, and let's just rip off the Band-Aid and do it? And, if they come back and they say, oh, look, I've got this, and that, and then just say, well, that's okay. I'll probably fill up my spaces by the end of this week. So let me know as soon as possible. But maybe we could touch base again next month and look next month. And just creating some cut and dry rather than, I'll touch base with you next week. And then I'll touch base with you next week. And then I'll touch base with you next week. I was even saying to Pauline, like, she's got someone who's on the fence for so long. Now, I've just signed up a lady last night. Now, this is a long story, right? So she has been inside my prospect radar for 4.5 years. That's how long she's been sitting on the fence of this business, right? And it got to the stage where she would message me and say, I think I'm ready. And then I'd be like, cool, let's get on a call. And then just last minute of the call, she'd say, oh, bills came up, or I've just lost my job, or something's always happened. Anybody got one of those in the pipeline that's kind of constantly got the excuses? Yeah. So I just kind of got to the stage with this woman because it was absolutely ridiculous, right? Funny story. This is just keeps going on and on. I apologize, but it's worth it, right? I've got the Soul Project. And she's been wanting to be part of the Soul Project for 4.5 years. So I figured that she knows that I run it. Apparently not, because she went into my Instagram of the Soul Project and said, hey, I see that you're hiring. My friend Katrina keeps pestering me to join. I think I'm ready. I was like, oh, hey, babe, it's me. Like, this is me. Like, this is my business. And, it was just so fucking awkward. But it made me realize people have no idea. And then anyway, I said, come on, this is your last month to do it, because otherwise I'm just going to close the door on this. It's been years. And to be honest, I can't give any more of my time to it. And I was really honest with her because I just thought, you know what, make a fucking decision. You're either in or you're out. And guess what? She got on the call and she signed up last night. So I think sometimes we are so kind and needy that we're enabling people to sit on the fence rather than be what, just jump. If you don't want to jump, I'm not going to be here to catch you. Go jump to somebody else. Because do you know what? If they don't want to jump, they're not going to get on trainings. They're not going to do their first post. They're not going to do all that stuff because they're going to need you to be, come on, I gotcha. You can do this. Down you come. And you don't have time for that. You don't want to create a team of people that you have to be like all pussyfooted around. So get really honest and just say to people, you know what? I won't have time to do it over the next month. Life's pretty crazy. So either jump on board, jump on this intake, or I'll touch base with you in September. Give them something crazy, okay? And then if you get the option to be like, oh, I might touch base next month. Oh my God, a position has come available. What a surprise. I couldn't help but think back to you. This is a rare occurrence. Do you want to jump at it, or I'll pass it to the next person in the line? And when you create that kind of urgency and FOMO, I mean, we all know that they can join a network marketing company whenever they want, but that's enabling them to sit on the fence. If we create some kind of urgency and some kind of cut off, then it really does get their butts into gear. Okay, so if you've got people on the fence that you're thinking, just bloody order or just jump on top of the team, have a little bit of a think around, well, what can I say to create urgency that they need to do it now? The 8-week challenge is a great one if you've got customers, because there's only a 2-week rolling start. So if they sign up within that 2 weeks, then they can be in the running to win the prize money. If not, too bad, so sad. So that's a great one to create some urgency, especially for end of the month. With the team, I always like to say that I'm doing my onboarding process for new team, because then that way it really just lets them know, well, I only do this maybe once every 3 months. And then, like I mentioned, if you do decide to get in conversation and you find that there's a little bit of a gap there, then you can kind of say, oh, look, I might be able to slide you in this week if you're keen. If you're really going to commit to this, I might be able to slide you in and get you in some trainings. Okay. But making them feel special and touching their why is always a really important part. You know, I really thought of you because I really wanted to work with you because, but can you hear my kids in the background, or is this not off-putting for you guys? Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? This is my wild house. This is what I have to put up with all of the time. But yeah, creating some form of urgency, making them feel important and touching back to their why is always really, really valuable, because it not only gets them in the door, but it starts them off strong as well. Oh, I see some questions. Okay, let me go over. Oh, Michelle, babe, honestly, don't let yourself feel down about the business, because if you do, it's going to be a trap that you will fall in all the time, because people will look at my business and they will think, holy fuck, I would love a business like that. Do you know how many times I feel down about my business? Because it's human nature. I should have worked harder. I should have brought on new frontline. I should have team doing more than this. Like, it's just human nature to always second guess what you're doing and to feel like you're not doing a good enough job. So where you are at the start, my biggest thing is just appreciate the movements that you're doing. You know, if you got out of your comfort zone, cheer yourself on. If you got one customer, do a happy dance. Like, just celebrate the good things, because once you start watching the negative things, they tend to grow. How to be authentic with your posting. So this is a hard one, because I feel like in order to be authentic, you really truly have to know yourself, and you have to know and value yourself. And I think for this one, you really have to not give a shit what other people think about you. You have to just be able to rip the Band-Aid off and say whatever you've got on your heart is worth putting out there because it's valuable. And hold that thought. I'm going to get my mum voice out. Can you guys keep it down? I'm attempting to do a call and all I can hear is screaming. Yeah, I know. Multitasking, hey? Multitasking. But yeah, I think being authentic is honestly like the golden secret in this business, because everybody can sell fruit and veg in a capsule. What makes it different is each individual person's flavors, their personality, their language, their jokes, their misdemeanor. So I think that that's kind of where a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot, because they're trying to be really professional and they're trying to have the most perfect positioning on social media, and that doesn't exist. You have to be real, you have to be ugly, you have to be vulnerable, you have to fuck up, you have to be totally yourself. Because, I mean, are people going to judge you? Absolutely. I hate to tell you, but people will always judge you. In life, people are always going to have an opinion. What you have to get solid on is the fact that there's people out there who are going to be so inspired by what you post. There's going to be people who gravitate towards you and change their life because you were brave enough to share yours. And you have to do the toss up. Do you want to be someone who always makes other people happy and fits in? Because I can promise you that's only ever going to get you so far. Or do you want to be somebody who's brave enough to stand in their own skin and share their own truth and inspire other people to change because of that? Now, I always do the toss up of the gauge, right? The energy gauge. If you're pleasing everybody else and you're manipulating your own personality and your own posts and everything like that to suit other people, then you're going to be attracting very low vibrations, because that's not It's definitely not up there on the indicator of flow and grace and, you know, excitement and hope and all of that stuff that is you being real and you. And if you can come from that place and really just be brave, really just be brave, you'll start to see how the universe responds, how it starts to open up, how it starts to direct better people into your life. And it will show you that by perhaps showing you who is being judgmental. And you might have to distance yourself from them, you know, and sometimes that's a hard thing because they're the people that you would have expected support you. And that's tricky. But again, my biggest thing is you can't change the world, you can't change your life, and you can't set a great example for your kids if you're always trying to please everybody else, because the real you just gets hidden under layers. So whatever the hell you want to post it. Be brave, press the submit button. Down the track, you can delete it if you want, but just be brave and start getting it out there. Start using your voice in the real form. Like I mentioned, you're going to cop some not so great stuff about it, always. That's okay. It's totally okay. It's just growing that muscle and leaning into the business, leaning into the people who have done it beforehand. Because from my point of view, I copped a lot of, well, not a lot, but I copped some pretty uncomfortable stuff at the start of my posting journey, because people were like, oh, I didn't think you'd ever get in something like that. Or I even got one person tell me that I was scamming people. And these are people that I know, right, that were inside my life. And it got to the stage where I was just like, you guys are really miserable. Like the way that you turn up in life, these particular people that were talking negatively to me, they were not great, inspiring people. They were not going out there and chasing the things they loved. In fact, they were all stuck inside a company that they hated. They didn't have great relationships. They didn't even have great relationships with their kids. They were just not where I wanted to end up in life. So I really had to take that advice of Linda, where she said, if you wouldn't live their life, don't take their advice. And that was one of the biggest things for me, because I could see people like Linda, I could see people like Lauren just absolutely shining. And, you know, yeah, they were speaking their truth. They were getting out of their comfort zone. They were being really vulnerable. And they were changing people's lives. That was amazing. So I'm really grateful for that time, and I'm grateful for those people who made me think, because it made me get really clear on what I do want to do and what I want to stop putting up with. And I can tell you, like, as you start to raise your vibration and you get out of caring and you get out of worrying about what other people think, people just stop approaching you with negativity. Like these days, I very rarely get anybody say anything negative. Even when I completely say, oh, I'm a network marketer, I work for Juice Plus. Never, because I come with a different level of certainty than what I had at the start. And that will come, that will grow. That's all just being brave and ripping the Band-Aid off. How to show the value of the price with the products. So this is a really cool one, because once you get the verbiage right on this and once you get the belief right on this one, you're pretty much unstoppable. So my biggest thing is really understand the value of the products yourself. Really understand that nothing in the chemist, nothing in the supermarket, nothing even in the naturopathic realm can come close to what we've got. We have a huge amount of quality control, a huge amount of money that's gone into testing, that's gone into funding, that's gone into making sure that our product is exactly what it says it is and does exactly what it does. There are very few nutraceutical products that have the backing that ours do. And once you really understand that, you think, shit, well, for the price that it is, it's a bloody steal. Like, you know, people go out and they pay $5, $6 for an organic punnet of strawberries. You can pretty much have berries every day that are organic, better than organic, that are quality tested, that have the nutrients in them that they say they are, every single day, and 11 varieties every single day for like $10, $11 a week. That's 11 different varieties rather than just one punnet of strawberries. So obviously, you know, we don't want to replace food, but when you look at the nutritional value, they are so top quality. For an extra $20 a week, what do people waste? You know, they can get the fruit and veg pack plus sponsor their kids free for $20 a week. not to mention get access to the program, access to people that help support them, access to their own personal ambassador or health coach or whatever it is that you want to call them, that is on their side, that's helping them do whatever they want to do. Like, honestly, the value is crazy. Even when you think about it, people pay up $20 a week for a gym membership and they probably don't even go. And yet here's something that they can easily have every morning that's going to change and start to make a difference in their lives. So once we get really clear on the belief, again, it comes down to certainty. If we know that what we've got is solid, then our verbiage will match and our energy will match, and we'll start to really raise people's boundaries. So my biggest thing with that is find your belief, understand it as much as you can. There's a really cool video from Dr. Sears that I think everybody inside our business should watch if you're going to be talking about our products. I can put that inside this chat if you want later, if you haven't watched it. The other thing is work out verbiage around a safe way to bring up price with people. So when people tell me how much is the product, my first response is there's so many different packages because we want to make it as affordable as possible. So how about you let me know what you could afford each week for your budget and I'll see what fits. All right. So I'm really putting it back in their court, because when people break it down per week, they'll realize that they spend at least 10 to 20, 30, if not $50 a week on absolute garbage. Yeah, on the random coffees, on the carton of soft drink, on whatever it could be. Take out once or twice a week that's not adding any kind of positivity to their health journey. So, you know, let's say then somebody comes back and says, oh, look, I really can't afford much more than $20. I say, well, that's amazing, because actually we can fit that in perfectly. $20 a week can get you products and it can sponsor a child, plus get you free access to all of our programs. You know, and then that's it. I say, I'm putting orders in actually tomorrow morning. Do you want to send through your details? And I'll flick you inside. We can add you into the group tonight. We can do all of that and get you ready to go. You know, it's just kind of letting people know. But I think once we stop overthinking it, people stop overthinking it, because the same as what I was talking about before at the start, when I didn't understand the value of the products and I was still thinking the products were quite expensive because I was coming from a spot where I didn't have a lot of money to spend, I was encountering a lot of people who would have objections around money, who were saying, oh, you know, I can't afford that, or I don't have that much sitting aside. And don't get me wrong, some of those are legitimate excuses. And to me, it comes back to the point of view is, don't drag people over the line. If you're spending so much time trying to convince people that they need this business or this product, you're going to make this business really difficult for yourself. There are so many people on this planet screaming out for better health and a way to get out of their shitty job. So many people. So when I see people trying to convince people who are just not keen, it's like that movie, He's Just Not That Into You, right? It's the same thing with network marketing. Don't waste your time. There's plenty of other people out there who are so into you and who so want this business. You just have to get used to going, okay, next. And like my friend who's been watching for 4.5 years, sometimes it's just leaving the light on and being a really good example of what this business can do. Because trust me, when you succeed, people take you a hell of a lot different. Yeah. Then they just start to go, okay, cool, show me what you're doing. Okay, show me what you're doing. So where you are right now is in the trenches. Don't go chasing people who don't see your worth. If they're giving you a whole lot of excuses, if they're giving you a whole lot of objections, then perhaps they're just not ready for what we've got. Doesn't mean it's not great experience to do some objection handling. So when somebody comes back and they say, oh, look, I just don't really want to invest in my health. Why? Why did they come to you in the first place? I totally understand that. I didn't think I did. But, you know, we were talking earlier and you were saying that you're being affected a lot by anxiety and depression. Have you looked into the correlation between gut health and brain health? You know, what I've been seeing, especially over the last little bit that I've been involved, is that these capsules and this program really can make a change and a difference in people's mental health. Would it be worthwhile if you could find $20, like get rid of the coffees, get rid of the bottle of wine, get rid of the ciggies, whatever it is that you're doing that's not great for your health, if we could put that into the program and you actually started feeling better, would it be worth it? You know what? If they turn around, they still have excuses, leave the light on. You've tried. Okay. But again, it comes to that. It's not your place to drag people over the line. It's your place to be the broadcaster and say, this is what I've got. Who wants it? And if you can say, this is what I've got, who wants it enough, and do the connecting, you'll find the really distinct clearance between somebody who wants it and somebody who's not ready yet. And that will come with time. You'll stop wasting your time over people who just aren't ready to invest in their health. Because I say this all the time, like, who has that one relative that whinges all the time, that is always sick, that's on so many medications, that's always at the doctor's office, and yet they still fucking drink, smoke, have fast food, you know, stay in a shitty job, stay in a shitty relationship, right? There's those people that we know that just do nothing good for themselves. It's not our job to change their behavior. All right, we can live the mission and we can showcase what works, but it's up to them to decide whether or not they're going to turn up for themselves. Mine too, Tammy, mine too. Oh my God, well, I've got a story for you guys, but I won't because I'll take up too much time. I've had it suggested to me and looking at how to do play my week better also in the weekend. I was briefly wondering what my why was. That's so interesting. And Kat, look, your why is going to change all the time. Your why is going to change on and off consistently.
Last weekend I just got, I was just lying in bed and was like, what's my why at the moment? Like, do I have one at the moment? You know, it's like,
yeah. And that's always a cool question to ask yourself. Well done for even thinking it, because more than half the population don't even give it a thought process. But my biggest thing is, I kind of like put a scenario in my head, right? If I die at 84 and I've got my kids and I've got my grandkids, what do I want to leave them? And, you know, it could be just your friends, your family. When they turn up and they see your name, what do they want to connect you to? When you've left this plane and when you've moved on, what do you want to leave behind? And I really urge people, like, because that's connected to your why, right? There's going to be all sorts of things. Some people want to create a school. Some people want to go out and save dogs in Vietnam. Some people want to go and create an orphanage. Some people just want to get their shit real tight and have a real big house and pass down family money. Like, they're all right because it's all individual to you guys. So I think that that's a really important question, because it also gets you out of any form of mojo and it gets you out of living in the past. It gets you really excited about, oh, fuck, let's get to work and let's create something special, because our time down here is really limited. So the more time we spend screwing around, feeling sorry for ourselves, worrying about what people think, the less time we actually have to build something special here. So that's a really big thing for me. Purpose and passion are something that are going to get you through every day, and they're always going to change. Like, my why when I first started this business was just a safety net. It really was, just to have an extra stream of income to come in so that I wasn't living in the red every week. My why was an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. That was it. That meant choices. All right. And then when I started seeing it was working, I thought, oh shit, I'm actually going to create something cool for my kids. I'm going to get out of my jobs and I'm going to do this full time so that I can stay home with them. That was my why, to spend time with my kids. Then when I did that and I realized just how much I was helping other people, my why was, you know what, I'm going to create a 100 club business. I'm going to earn this phenomenal figure and I'm going to go out there and teach as many people as possible how to leave their jobs. And then that became my why. And now my why's shifted again. So it's always going to be changing. It's always going to be evolving. That's why I give you the biggest kudos for actually asking yourself that question, because it's really hard to get started and to grow a business and to grow a purpose and a vision without knowing what you really want. And there's no right or wrong thing about that, guys. Trust me too. Could just be at the moment an extra $200 a month to put aside for a savings fund. That's fine. That's a why. This whole idea of a why that makes you cry is bullshit. You'll get there. And you'll find it really powerful when you do. But right now, it could just be to get your ass out of a shitty spot. That's fine. Absolutely fine. Okay. Question. Vitality Hub, Happy, Healthy, Energized, a preview group. It's a preview group. So it's run by all of us NMDs who support the Vitality Hub. And it basically is a preview group for any customers. So any person who wants to know more about what we do, add them in there. There's lots of free value. There's lots of things in there. My biggest thing is about preview groups is they only work if you give a really good follow-up. There's no point putting somebody in a preview group and expecting the preview group to do all the work for you. And that's why I've kind of not encouraged it within our team. They do work, absolutely, but you have to stay on top of that person, because we all know that we've been added into groups. And if you don't actively go in there, they just slide off your Facebook and you forget that you're even part of them. So if you're going to add somebody in there, you have to follow them up. You have to say, oh my God, have you seen there's a webinar in there today? Do you mind if I tag you? I think you might really like it. Or have you seen that we're releasing our 8-week challenge? You know, would you like me to tag you in the info group? Whatever it is. I want to send friends a preview option. Absolutely. So send them in there and have a little bit of a look. It doesn't show the community much on there too. And they really do a good job of showcasing the community in the preview group. And if you guys are using the preview group, as somebody who tries to facilitate that group, we would love to see you guys engage in that. Because when the other team members engage in it and show our personality through the preview group, it shows somebody what's actually being previewed, right? When it's just a whole bunch of admin shit, it doesn't really showcase the beautiful hearts and the beautiful souls that they get to be part of once they join. Yes, I love that, Kat. That is huge. It's a really big one. Yeah, values in our story and what benefits we're getting. Absolutely tons. Is that about the products? That's massive. Yeah. So when we're talking about the products and somebody says, oh, look, I don't have enough money to invest $30 a week. Like you can say, look, I totally felt found, my favorite, absolute favorite. I totally understand how you feel. I felt the same way. In fact, I was actually kind of a little bit frazzled when I heard the price because I've never invested that much money in myself before. But what I found is that I would pay that tenfold now because I can get out of bed without pain. I can wake up and feel excited for the day. I can have energy that lasts. You know, I can run around after my kids, whatever it is that you're doing. Because trust me, when you put a dollar figure on that, of course you're going to choose to pay it. If I said to you right now, okay, you can have, you know, unlimited energy, you can have clear skin, you can have anti-aging principles, you can have immune boosting principles, but it's going to cost you $30 a week. Yeah, I'm very surprised if anybody would not find the $30. But the thing is that we're not really talking about the benefits because we're not sharing our stories. And I can understand how that can sometimes be a little bit of a compliance issue. But this is what I talked about in my live on Monday. Post it. And if they send you an email, then reword it. Okay? Stop being so frightened of sharing your story because of compliance. Compliance are just there to do a job. It's very serious and they'll take it very serious. But they're just a team inside head office, and head office ultimately want to see us get sales, and they know that sharing our story gets sales. Okay. So they're not going to like take your franchise off you. They're not going to reprimand you. They're not going to do anything. All compliance team are going to do is send you an email saying, hey, you should probably reword this, or hey, this part of your post that we've noticed isn't compliant. And I know this is recorded, so this is never going anywhere else. Stop adding HO as friends. Okay. Stop doing it. I don't understand why people do it. Fly under the radar for as long as possible, okay? But the beauty of it is that your stories sell. What you've noticed sells. People want what you've got. So you have to be able to showcase it, and that is the beauty of posting authentically, okay? Let me have a look as well. Happy family. Yes! Oh, Tammy, we have to talk. Absolutely. So does that answer your questions, guys? Do you have anything else around any of that? Because I know I've probably taken up a lot of your time. But if there's anything else that around that I can clarify, I'm so down. I think that there's so much beauty that can be done in this last week of the month. I don't know if you guys really understand, but whatever you make over this last little bit of the month will be your make or break in the pay. So if you guys want to create an extra $200 to $300, all you've got to do right now is go out and find 2 or 3 new customers. That means on the 10th, you get $200 or $300 in your bank. So have a look and think, okay, cool. Well, what goals do I really have? What do I need to pay? What would I really love to be able to say? You know, if you've got somebody in your family who doesn't believe this can work, that was for me, right? Go out and fucking find 3 or 4 customers. Just work your ass off. Go and follow up. Go and talk. Go and post the shit out of your story and attract as many people as possible. Because then when you can turn around on the 10th and say, well, look, here's an extra $300 or $400 that I've got in my bank because I believed this thing could work. And that is honestly, the quickest way to get people on your side is to show them that it works. The hard part is that you got to do the work in order to get the money. But most people kind of feel so scared that they don't do the work and then they don't get the money and then they just become a statistic. Okay. So, okay, I got to go because I got kids at my door that are screaming and knocking and I've locked it for as long as I can potentially lock it. But I am so grateful to be able to spend the time with you guys, and I love getting to hang out, and hopefully I'll get to do this again soon. But go and kick ass for this end of month. Go and make a goal to find yourself at least a couple of customers.
Thank you so much, Kat. We love and appreciate you so much.
My pleasure, darling.
you.
It's always beautiful to hang out with you guys. And honestly, I just want to say, I am the biggest advocate for Team Juice Plus New Zealand out of the entire NMDs. Like
Totally
Selena,
true
Selena and
story.
it is true. It's a true story.
Yep.
Selena and I have this thing. And I just want to say, like, I have such an intuitive feeling that New Zealand needs Juice Plus so much, but it's only just being scraped up on the surface. Over here, we've used it, and everybody pretty much knows about Juice Plus. You guys have something absolutely gold in your hand. Your country is like the breeding ground that can pretty much make this thing boom. Be part of it. Be part of getting it out there, and I will have your back every step of the way because I am so determined to prove a few other NMDs wrong and say, fuck what? You know what? New Zealand, they're going places. You guys have got this. You guys are going to be like the next Spain. Spain just did this bizarre thing where it went and it just blew up and everybody was like, what the hell happened? And I'm like cheering that it's going to happen to New Zealand. So come on, guys.
That's because COVID was so bad over there.
Yeah. It was really bad.
People were dying. It was awful.
Yeah, they were finally starting to understand fruits and veg in a capsule have some meaning.
Yeah.
But you know what? Go crazy, guys. Bring it home. Be proud of what you've got because I promise the more that you learn about it, the more you're just going to fall in love with it. You're definitely in the right place. Okay, so big love. Have a good night.
Thank you, beautiful.
My pleasure. I'll talk to you all soon. Love you,
Bye,
Kat.
Thank you, Kat. See ya.